training horse pretty quick. Okay, we've talked mostly about moving the front end of the horse, mostly with our reins. So now we want to figure out how to control the rear end of the horse, okay? That's pretty much where our legs come in. And we want to teach this horse to move away from leg pressure. A lot of times his natural tendency will be to lean into our legs rather than move away. Some horses hate leg pressure. Some horses hate spurs. And you're going to say, well, just take them off, you know. Don't get him all agitated and irritated, you know. Take those spurs off and hang them back in the tack room. And I'm saying, no, this horse needs to learn what all the tools are. He needs to learn to move away from my calf. He needs to learn to move away from my heel. And he needs to learn to accept spurs. Because if I want to sell this horse to somebody who's going to use him for some advanced event, chances are really high those people are going to be wearing spurs. And so I need to teach this horse to accept spurs, okay? When I first got on this horse today, he would not accept spurs at all, okay? He was kind of okay on the left side, but on the right side, he would get mad. He would kick out behind. He would go running backwards. He kind of had some bad habits because he simply couldn't accept that pressure in his side. So I worked with him a little bit. We're going to see how he works today. I've got a little bat here, and you say, now you're going to start beating on him, aren't you? I'm going to say, no, I hope I don't have to beat on him. That's not horse training anymore. You know, that's relieving your frustrations and taking it out on something else. So that's no longer horse training. But this is a tool. And if I need it as a tool, I have it. So now, we've got to teach this horse to move his rear end from side to side. Let's stop and think, what's the easiest way that we can do this? Would it be mounted, or would it be from the ground? Now, Monte talked about doing a lot of groundwork on horses, and it's critical that horses have manners on the ground. If they don't have manners on the ground, chances are about 95% they will not have manners when you get on their back either. So the groundwork that you do, teaching manners, really, really helps a lot of the stuff when you climb on. And so we can do some stuff from the ground. So I'm going to get off this horse, and I'm going to try to make life as easy as I can for this horse to figure out what I want. So I want this horse to move away from my leg pressure against his rib cage. So if I stay on him, I can kind of kick around in his rib cage, but I'm up there wiggling around with my weight. So I'm going to try to make this as simple as I can. So I'm going to poke this horse in the ribs about where my leg would be or where my spur would be. And I can either use my thumb or my finger, or sometimes I'll take a little bat and I'll just use the handle end of the bat. I'll hang on to one rein so he doesn't leave, okay? And now I'm going to start poking him in the rib cage and wiggling my bat, and I want him to step his rear end sideways. Did he do it? Yeah, he took one step. That's good enough, isn't it? I won the battle. Okay, so I'm going to do it again. I'm going to go poke, 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 poke until he steps one step. And again, one step is all I need. In the beginning, I won the battle, didn't I? Now, most of your horses will not do this when you start off. They'll argue, they might cow kick at you, they might reach around and try to bite you. But now I'm going to ask him again. I'm going to go poke, poke, poke. You can see he rings his tail a little bit. He looks at me, but he moves, okay? And as soon as he moves, what do? I quit poking. Okay, now he's pretty good on this side. So if I go poke, 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 you know, he can get a little mad. He's trying to back up. That's the wrong answer. I want him to go sideways. There. There was a sideways step. Backwards is not the correct answer. Sideways is the correct answer. Okay, poke, 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 moves his rear end around. Okay, now this horse is pretty good on that side. Let's try him on this side, see what happens. I'm going to poke him in the ribs again. There's one step. I'm going to poke him in the ribs again. Okay, now he kind of wallered around that first time, didn't he? But then he said, oh, I think I figured out what you want. That's a backward step. That's not it. Okay, and so as I start poking him with this, I'm going to expect that expect that rear end to move sideways. Okay, poke, 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 poke. Now, we stalled out a little bit, didn't we? He said, backing up. That must be the right answer. No, I said, no, it's not. Sideways is. When I got on this horse today, every time I'd touch him on the right-hand side, he'd run backwards. So he thinks backwards is the way out. And I say, no, it's not. Sideways is the way out. There. And so you quit poking him when he does the right answer. Backwards is not it, bud. Back up all you want. I'm going to keep poking you till you move your hip over sideways. There. That's a legitimate move. Okay? Now, when you first start doing this, your horses will lean into this a lot. He wants to rub on me. That is not allowed. We can love each other, but we don't have to rub on each other, okay? Don't want you messing up my clean shirt. So, we do it from the ground, hopefully until we get some correct answers.